This is TT Rates on the Millwall drive home. Today, TT Rates Luton Town. Not very highly, I've got to be honest. Now, I've done a few of these, and normally the away team or the opposing team to Millwall get a fair crack at the whip, but I'll rate the atmosphere, I'll rate the ground, I'll rate the players, I'll rate the manager, and I'll rate the food and drink. And I'm going to be honest, if you're a Luton Town fan, you might want to look away now, because overall, I parked up. We got to Luton pretty early, just so we missed the traffic, missed the peak. Got to Luton early, parked up, walked about a 10-minute walk to the ground, and then walked back into the city centre. And sheesh, is it not the most picturesque of places to be, that's for sure. And I'm from New Cross in South London, so I've seen some pretty tough places in my life, but Luton, it's pretty bad. I'll move to the stadium. Now, there's nothing more picturesque than walking down a block of terraced houses and finding the away stand and walking through a gap in the terraced houses to get into the stand. The seats are right on top of your knees. They're stanchions so you can't see. Now, people talk about stadiums and grounds with character. That's got character, but considering it's a championship club, it's pretty poor. And I know that I think they're getting a new ground, but there's no getting away from it. Kenilworth Road is not a very pleasant stadium in any way, shape or form. You've got scaffolding on top of their executive boxes. It just looks like it is run down, and it looks like the area outside it, I've got to be honest. And for that reason, I'll give Kenilworth Road a 1. Move on to atmosphere. Now, thankfully, Luton Town didn't have a drum. They didn't have a drum or any other musical instruments. And I include in the musical instruments voices, because I very, very rarely heard Luton Town fans singing at all, other than Come On Luton, which obviously they want to get behind their boys. It was probably the quietest I've heard a ground in a very long time. Now, I know we're no draw. No one really, the amount of attacking football from our team in the first half, it was enough to put anybody to sleep, but it was dire. The atmosphere was dire. There's no getting away from it, and it's the worst I've had this season. In fact, it's the worst I've had a long time. So for that reason, I'll give it half a star. Food and drink. No Diet Coke for a start, which is pretty amazing considering it had Coke and Coke Zero, no Diet Coke. The Coke Zero that I did get was warm, and because it was so cold, it actually got colder as it sat there. They did get that. At least I could have it in a bottle. Obviously, we weren't allowed lids because we're thuggish hooligans, but they did actually let us have the bottle. I didn't have anything to eat because I had a ropey kebab before I went in there. So for that reason, I think I'll give Luton Town a 1. And now we'll move on to the team and the manager. The manager, Graham Jones, took over in May 2019, earlier this year. Hasn't started, he's a bit in between, lacks obviously managerial experience. I felt surprisingly, at half time his team's on top and he got tactically outdone in the second half. His team were on the back foot and he didn't really have any ideas to try and change it. I was surprised with that. It'll be interesting to see where Luton go from this spot, but they're certainly one of the poorer teams that I've seen in the division. And that obviously includes us because we're also quite poor, but they had the wingers that run at us, but their final product in the box, other than the goal that was scored by Matt Manaman when he come on, was pretty poor. Defensively, they looked vulnerable as well. We didn't make the most of that, but I didn't think they offered much at the back. And once we didn't, as a team, show them the respect that we showed them in the first half, they struggled. They were panicked, playing the ball out of play, pretty similar to what we were doing in the first half, and that's not conducive of them staying in the division. I predict that they'll finish either 19th or 20th. And, you know, I thought that one of the standout players, I thought first half Ryan Tunnicliffe had a decent half. You know, the ex-Millwall player, I thought he played pretty well, but there's not much in that stadium in terms of support. There's not much on that pitch in terms of players, and the manager's unproven. I don't do this to be liked, and I know that no Luton Town fans are going to be watching this thinking, well, they're going to say what they want to say. So you put what you want to put in your comments, but my overall opinion of your club is pretty poor. Thanks for watching. Come on, you Lions.